Welcome to the Eat Well, Sleep Great, Run Far podcast. My name is Will Frantz, and I'm here to help you go farther, faster, and longer without injuries, gut problems, or giving up your favorite foods. Welcome to the second athlete interview on the ESR podcast. This time I will be talking to Oscar Gonzalez, a runner who recently completed his first ultra, the Whiskey Basin 60K from Aravaipa Running. He's a very promising athlete and generally great dude, and we take some time to learn about him and the training he did to get ready for his first ultra marathon. When Oscar and I connected, which was incredibly timely, even more than I knew before this interview, he was really struggling to even finish a 20-miler without destroying himself, and now he is crushing and enjoying 60Ks. We spend time talking about everything from why he runs, to training, to nutrition, to hydration, to figuring out injuries on the fly. I really think you're going to enjoy it. Also, there's yet another mediocre edit where I pieced together two different Zoom calls, just like in the episode with Brianna. I promise for the next interview I'll get a pro account so it sounds less stupid. All right, that is enough of the intro. Let's get on with the interview. All right, today on the podcast, we have Oscar Gonzalez. He is an athlete that I helped train to get ready for the Whiskey Basin 60K recently from Aravaipa Running, and he crushed it. He went from, really, when we first met, struggling through some efforts a lot shorter, and during that Whiskey Basin run, just had a great time and really did well doing it. So we're going to talk today about what his future is in the sport and what he's working with and why he likes running and all that stuff that we're looking forward to. So Oscar, before we really get rolling, what got you into running in the first place? Not even necessarily ultra running, but just running. What got you started?
What got me into running? So I never was a runner growing up. I mean, I played a lot of sports, basketball, football, baseball. I mean, always been pretty athletic growing up, but never was into the actual running, running laps or track, cross country, anything like that. I mean, I always stayed away from that. And even when I had to do basketball practice, always hated the running. I didn't get into running until 2019. Just kind of was looking for some changes in my life, things that I wanted to kind of get a hold of and find new things to release all my energy. And then I found running. The first race I ever ran was a 5K. My aunt, which is actually my boss that I work for, she actually asked me if I wanted to sign up for a 5K. I didn't even know that existed. I knew cross country in high school and stuff, track and stuff, but I didn't know there was actual races regular people could sign up for and go run at parks and stuff. So yeah, she asked me if I wanted to sign up. I said yeah. Went down to a park on a Sunday morning. I hate waking up early, so that was already a battle. Was trying to get up early to go run a freaking 5K. And then ran it, and I don't know, I got a really crazy thrill out of it, and went home, kind of looked into what running was, and then figured out that there was ultra running and ultra marathons. And I was wow, there are people running 30, 50, 100 miles. That's insane. I didn't even know that existed. I didn't even know people could actually do something like that. So that's how I got into it. I just needed to find an outlet for my energy that I carry every day. And just got into it and started running. That's pretty much it.
I love that, man. Do you remember how you did on that 5K?
Probably around 40-45 minutes, somewhere around there. I remember feeling I was running really freaking fast, but not at all. And I remember running out of breath, mile at 1.5, and then just trying to figure out how I'm gonna make it to the end. And and I also at that time I had a GoPro, so I remember I would record them. I did a couple of 5Ks, and I would record them and watch them and stuff. And definitely didn't do as good as I've gotten now, for sure.
Yeah, dude, for sure. That's hilarious. It sounds very similar to my 1 or 2 5Ks that I ran back in Tucson when I was cycling a lot more. I did some 5Ks to support friends, and I was not good, man. I was not a good runner. So yeah. You say you're looking for like an outlet for all your energy and stuff. Like, what kind of brought that to a head, I guess? Like, what have you done in the past? Like, what does your sports background look like? You said you did some basketball. I happen to know you box, so I'd love to hear a little bit about that. But like, what did all that look like in the past before you got into running?
Yeah, so sports wise, growing up, like back to the like growing up, I was just super high energy kid, like could never stay still, was like always in school, like had to be moving around, like PE was my favorite class, like just always had a lot of energy. So my mom always put me in sports. One of the first sports that I've ever played was basketball. And I remember just being a kid from like I think like the age of like 6 until I turned like 18, 19, just playing basketball every day, just continuously playing basketball. I played basketball for quite a while. I did a lot of like the rec leagues, and I played a lot of YMCA basketball. That actually helped me a lot as far as becoming an athlete, because when I was like in
Sure.
middle school, seventh, eighth grade, I was actually playing in like college leagues and was actually playing with college basketball players. So I actually got pretty good to a good point where I was like, I actually could maybe go to college and play basketball. But
You know that? That's awesome, dude.
but yeah, basketball and then a little bit of football. I didn't really enjoy football as much just because my body got pretty beat up. After I got out of high school, that's where I got into boxing. That's where, like I stopped playing after high school. It's like if you don't go to college and play sports, you end up just, joining rec leagues or whatever leagues like that. So I kind of got away of the team sports after high school, and then just was trying to find like individual sports and just again something where I could take a lot of my energy and just put it out. And one of them was boxing. Boxing helped me a ton. I actually spent a good 4 to 6 years, I think, in a boxing gym. Yeah, and
So
yeah,
wow.
that gym basically saved my life, man. That gym was a lifesaver. During that time of my life, was going through a lot of things, and kind of just with the coach in that system, he kind of became a father figure and just guided me and just put me in a good situation. So yeah, boxing overall was the sport that really helped me a lot. Um, but yeah, I played every sport you could think of. I spent amount endless hours growing up as a kid on a baseball field playing with my friend Eric, just throwing and pitching and simulating games, and just like I've done it all when it comes to sports. But yeah, boxing was the one that pretty much gave me. I think boxing gave me more like a mental toughness and kind of
Sure.
just made me realize like, oh man, we're capable of doing a lot more than basketball and team sports did.
Yeah, that
But
makes a
yeah.
bunch of sense. Like, have you found that so I mean, I can tell you watching as a coach that some of that history makes a lot of sense to me. Like, you're fairly injury proof, right? Like, we had a calf issue we'll talk about later, but your
Mhm.
joints are good. Yeah, it's really hard for you to get hurt. And I think a lot of that comes down to a lot of that like team sport background. They've seen a lot of crossover there. I get to
Mhm.
experience some of that myself. But as far as like some of the mental stuff, is there stuff that you learned in boxing that seems to help you now in pushing these like long distances?
Um, Man, to me, boxing and running are so similar. I know it's completely different because when you look at it, because one, you're beating the shit out of each other, and the other one, you're kind of just beating the shit out of your own self by running really far and like not trying to poop
Yep.
yourself and like all these weird things. So like, but the sport's really, really similar because I've done both of them. Um, I it's like really hard for me to explain how it is similar, but at the end of the day, it just comes down to like that mental toughness that it teaches you and consistency. That's something that I got a lot from boxing that I learned that, from you coaching me and stuff that I learned is just like you have to be very consistent with your training. You have to like really understand what rest days mean and when not to push it, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I think that's where
Worst part.
where it gets really similar. It's just kind of like you have to be really consistent and just kind of understand that you're in a really brutal sport, and you can really take a toll if you don't listen to yourself and your body. I learned that the hard way in boxing because I would just be like just a mad dog. I just want to spar and box and just get beat up all the time. But
Yeah.
as you learn, it's just like your body takes a toll and you can't continue to produce that way. You're bound to just be sidelined.
Oh yeah, dude. You're gonna get burnt out. It sucks, especially when
Yeah,
you're getting hit in the head. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I can like bring back to running a little bit. So when God, you and I met early this year, right? You're like connected early this year, late last year, somewhere in there.
Like mid-January, early January. Yeah.
So I thought it was like right around the holidays. So where were you in your running then? Like what had been going on? I know you said you did some like 5Ks in 2019, but went on between basically what was your running like during the apocalypse that we all just experienced? And where were you when you and I met in like January of 2022?
Yeah, so I started running in 2019. I spent, when was COVID, like 2021, 2020, or when was the COVID year? I don't even remember anymore. Now, I'll tell you this.
It started March 2020. I remember because I got laid off. So March 2020.
Yeah, so around that time, there was during COVID, there was pretty much no running, like to be straight honest. I did in November 2019, I did a 20K or 25K. I destroyed myself, didn't understand nutrition, hydration, calories. I just went out there and ran with the water bottle basically and just try to make it back to the finish line. And
how'd that go? Just out of curiosity, how'd that go for you?
Horrible. I died. I didn't want to run after that for a long time, and I injured myself. I injured myself pretty badly.
Good.
My left leg, where I had like IT band issues, and I couldn't run for a long period of time. So
I don't think I knew it was that bad. It's like, how long were you out?
For like 6 months.
Shit, dude. I know you got hurt. I didn't know it's that long.
Yeah, it was for like 6 months because I remember like COVID hit, and then I was already like slowly trying to get into running, and I could only put like a mile or two in before my leg would hurt. So then I completely just kind of like was like I can't run anymore, and then just stopped running. And then pretty much for the rest of 2020, I did not run at all until February of like 2021. That's kind of when I got out of pretty bad shape. Just COVID hit, and I was just at home, and then was working from home, so wasn't really doing much. But 2021, I came back to work. My life kind of got back to normal, and then I went back to the boxing gym. I didn't even have any intentions of running. I didn't like completely had forgotten that I had a dream to run ultra marathons and stuff like that. So 2021 around February, I went back to the boxing gym. Started boxing, and then my goal was to try to get my pro license, and then try to do some pro bouts. So I spent most of 2021 training in there with the coach, and then just trying to get better and better and better. And then it kind of just got to a point, I think around September or October, I kind of realized that my body was just not going to be able to take it anymore. My shoulder was too beat up to even fight at that level. So I was kind of back to step one, like, okay, I need to find something again to take all this energy and all of this stuff that I have in me out, and just kind of like, because I deal with a lot of anxiety and stress and depression, and then I've had my drug addictions and stuff like that. So my drug addiction took a lot of a toll on me. So I'm kind of like became this person now that always has to have goals and has to be doing something. If not, my life completely falls apart. So once I was like, okay, I'm not gonna box no more. I'm just gonna coach at the boxing gym. I did that for a little bit, but then at the same time, it was like I need to do something, like something physical. I need to do something physical for myself. And then that's when I was like, oh well, this whole time, like running, like what, like I gotta run. So so then I think around October 2021, got back into running. Kind of just trained myself. I still to this point had no idea how calories and nutrition and like nothing. Like I'm just a boxer, dude. Like I go to a gym, sweat, punch people, and then go home. Like I don't understand nutrition and stuff. Like I just know to eat pretty healthy and do a lot of push-ups and sit-ups, because that's how boxing is. But
dude,
running is like so different,
my favorite.
Yeah, it's just so I learned the hard way. So so like around October 2021, got back into running, did like a 15K, got myself through it. But I think it was getting to a point where like every time I got past 10 miles, like my body was just dying. And it's just like I could not run past 10 miles. So I think
yeah, I mean, that makes some sense. Like for probably most people listening to this, we've been there. Fuck, I've been there. I was there last week because I messed up. one of those things that happens when you don't end up lost in the woods somewhere. But like if we're looking at nutrition and hitting walls at 10 miles and kind of struggling with that space, like I'd also like to point out, I realize this is the winter, but like you live in Phoenix, which is terrible when it comes to like heat, right? So like you're also getting doubly kicked in the dick. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like of course you're struggling, man. So yeah, how did you, I think when you and I first started talking, you'd just done a 20 miler. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd that go?
So the way that I met you was, it's actually pretty funny because I was still training before like 2021. And then I signed up for the cold water 20 miler. Still didn't know hydration, nutrition, nothing. Probably ate a banana and had a Gatorade like the night before and thought I was good. And then did the 20 miler, pretty much died. Got pretty beat up, like destroyed, man. Like around mile 13, got pretty destroyed. But
yeah,
somehow made it back to the finish line. Don't know how. I mean, I literally just I dehydrated myself to the point where I was like, I don't know how, but somehow made it back.
Like your mental game is on it. Seriously.
That comes from boxing. It comes from the boxing background where it's just like, you're mentally tough in that gym, but that's really where it comes from. It's just even these races where I beat myself up and I made mistakes, like I always made it to the finish line just because I'm mentally tough. But I definitely learned after that race that being mentally tough is not going to get me to where I need to go. So, that after that race, I came home, I was laying on my floor, pretty demoralized, destroyed. And I was like, dude, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to run a successful race. And then you sent me a DM and was like, hey, how'd your race go? And we had never talked. You added me to that group. And then that's how I was like, kind of, because I was trying to find like advice or just trying a little bit of help. But yeah, you DM'd me at the perfect time when I was sitting on my floor, destroyed, like just pretty much done with running. And then, after that, I was like, I need a coach. I need help. I need to figure this out. And I don't know how to do it. So yeah,
that's awesome, dude.
Basically saved me.
I didn't know that like it was quite that fateful, I guess.
It really was like that.
It's like I just try to message most people that join that group because I run it and just want to make sure everybody's like well taken care of. And the timing there worked out, I guess. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was actually was really funny. My daughter was actually sitting next to me, and then she was like, "Who messaged you?" And I was like, "A running coach." And she's like, "You need one of those." And I was like, "You know what? I think I do." And then seriously, like I never really thought about like that's how disconnected I was from running and understanding the sport. Was like I didn't even know there was running coaches. Like I did not know. I just did not know.
No, I feel you. I mean, a couple years ago, I really didn't either. Everybody who listens to this probably does know that I'm fairly new to this space. I just been in fitness for a long time and saw things I didn't like and had a connection to ultra runners and just like, let's do this thing. So yeah, man, I feel you. It's you don't know what you don't know. And there's so much shit out there. Like it's hard. So when we started working, when we first started working together, you were targeting another 20 miler, like about a month out, Copper Canyon. And I think the first thing we did was like get your hydration on point because that was shit. But yeah, so what did all that look like? And then how did Copper Canyon go?
So basically what we worked on was just kind of like hydration and nutrition and just kind of figuring out how much calories I need to take per hour, how many liters I need to be drinking an hour, just stuff like that. I already had a pretty good base built before that, so I had it in me, to run 20 miles. It was just figuring out why I couldn't make it to 20 miles without that was the thing, man. Killing myself.
It was easy to tell. Like you showed me your Garmin data or whatever, Strava. I forget what it was, what you were using at the time, but like I saw your times and it's so clear when someone hits the wall because it's like 10-minute mile, 10-minute mile, 10-minute mile, 10-minute mile, 14, 18, 20, and you're just like fucking trucked. So man, I knew you had the base. We just needed to make sure you could actually hold it.
Yeah, so we just spent that month, we just kind of spent working on calories,
Yeah.
how many calories am I taking in, how much water am I consuming per hour. And, once we figured that out, threw in a couple bananas here and there for cramping. And
Yep.
then once I did the copper corridor, um, I mean, I ran it like it was amazing. I know it was a training run and I took it slow, but I didn't die, which that was the main goal, was to just finish something without feeling like complete crap.
Yeah.
Um, and then after that, it was kind of just running it and having fun. And I mean, I think it was a really successful race. It was a beautiful race. I got to really enjoy it, and
Good.
it was really because I actually was, drinking water and taking calories, using the aid stations and, really checking my timing and my pacing and really understanding that I can only run this fast without, overdoing it. So just kind of controlling pacing and stuff. So, yeah, that race went great. I love that race. I can't wait to go back and run it again.
Yeah, man, you crushed that race. It's really cool. It was cool to see that. Because I mean, yeah, it's
It-
just fun. And I mean, you didn't do a lot. We just kind of dialed some shit in. It was
yeah.
easy on my end at least. How like that month wasn't that big of a deal on there, right? Like it seemed to be pretty smooth.
Yeah, it was pretty smooth. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, on my end, it took a little bit to adapt to
sure.
drinking so much water and like just
Right.
kind of figuring out like there was times where we had like practice runs or something like that, and
Mhm.
I didn't hit my number, and you would tell me like you have to really, hit your number. And
Sure.
I also was having stomach issues where I was like gulping water, like really big gulps of water. And then finally you told me like, well, why don't you go from gulps to sips every 2-3 minutes? Like, and then those were like little things that we just dialed in as I continued to train with you. It just kind of it changed everything. And it was just
Good,
little tiny minor adjustments.
good man. I'm glad to hear that. Like it's easy on my end. So it's always nice to hear that it like was pretty smooth in yours too. So on that note, um, next was I don't know, it's like 6 weeks later. You had the damn good run, and that was a 40K. And tell me about that one because that one was a different story. And like to put it in perspective for everybody here, and I'm just gonna like kind of give away the like short end here. The weather had been great all
Yeah.
through it, and then suddenly there's a 20-degree temperature shift, and it didn't go smoothly. So let's talk
Yeah.
about that from your end.
Yeah, that was a very interesting race. There was a lot of things that happened even like before I got to the spot that was like kind of like everything was like, don't run, but I'm crazy. So I was like, I'm just gonna do it. Um, First of all, I don't even know how I finished that race, man. I really don't. Like it's
Yeah.
tough to say this because like the first half, that was like the fastest, the strongest, the most clear-minded I've ever felt in my life. And that was one of the mistakes that I felt so good that it made me want to push past the 90%,
Mhm.
80% that we had set. So like I kind of ran a little too fast on my end because I just was feeling so great. Like I
Yeah.
accidentally I accidentally peaked a little bit too much on that run because it was just felt good. But
To
I
be
mean,
fair, I also
before,
told you to go enjoy it and just like not overexert yourself. But I told you to go enjoy it.
well, I mean,
It's
when I was
the
like,
temperature just kicked your ass. Like I nobody saw it coming either. It was
yeah, yeah, the
like
temperature changed a lot. And like before that, that was actually one of my first races where I actually had ran in heat that was in the 80s, high mid 80s, somewhere in like
it
that. So
like
that was to
it touched the low
experience.
90s that day. I think it was brutal.
Oh yeah, I mean it was hot. I'll tell you, it was really, really, really hot. And before I even got to that race, I accidentally spilled my water and everything that I had set up. So that was the first mistake I made. And then my brother, he let me use some of his stuff, which I wasn't accustomed to, and it kind of messed my stomach up. So I wasn't trying to. I didn't consume as enough calories as I should have, just because I
Sure,
kind of lost the powder that I was using and had to go with my brother's. But
sure.
um, that was one of the that was I think that was one of the main issues that kind of beat me up to begin with, was I just kind of lost what I was using, my
Yeah.
products and stuff. So I had to go with something new. But yeah, the heat at some point got pretty warm, and not drinking enough water and consuming calories, and then getting hot just made for disaster. But
Yeah.
like always, I mentally figure it out and I get to the finish line. But
Good. You
yeah,
made it.
half of that race was great. The other half was just learning from mistakes, and I definitely have learned from those mistakes.
Good. Yeah, dude. You did. I mean, you did great. You pushed through it, but it was your times were apparent. Those last 3 miles were a bitch. Like it looked
Yeah,
really
I
rough.
was yeah, there was a lot of people that were passing me that were like, "Hey, you should not be here right now." I'm like, "Yeah, well, shit happens. So let's keep on moving." But yeah, the last 3 miles was tough. I actually ended up calling my brother and asking him to bring me some water, like half a mile out, because I was completely out of water. Like I made so many mistakes, and it was pretty rough. So, but I really, really learned from those mistakes. Like I would not change. If I could go back, I wouldn't change it, because it really taught me like that I need to be more, a little more disciplined when it comes to like the routine before the race and being prepared the night before. So yeah, definitely learned from that.
Good, man. I mean, that's a good thing to dive into, right? Like, or not necessarily dive into, but just note that like our pre-race rituals, routines, whatever you want to call them, need to kind of be dialed in, because never want to be doing that shit on race morning. So yeah, good, man.
Yeah.
Glad to kind of learn that. Sorry, it was the hard way, but it's a good thing to learn.
Yeah.
So from there, I think it was like 3 weeks later. Does that sound right? Was Whiskey Basin 60K. And
Yeah.
let's talk about everything from calf injuries to how that run went.
Yeah. So after the damn good run, I don't think I hurt myself during the damn good run. I think like after a few days later, the first, I think like the second workout I had to do, I think I just pushed it a little too fast. And then, because I remember like that was like a 6 mile run, and my last 2 miles were like in the 7 minutes, and I don't run that fast ever. So when I did those 7 minute miles, and then the next day my leg was hurt. So I think it had to do in that training run where again I just pushed it too. Sometimes I get too carried with speed and like, oh my God, I can run fast again. Like I haven't been able to do this in fucking middle school. Like I get carried in that, so then I run a little too fast than what I'm supposed to. But yeah, I hurt my calf.
Yeah, dude, I think you're a little over leveraged from Whiskey Basin, right? Like you're probably still on the recovery, and just pushed it a bit hard in the training and pulled it. For anybody who cares listening to it, Oscar strained his soleus, so that like deep muscle inside your calf that you use like literally every step when you run. We ended up with a strain there, which was shitty for reasons. Go ahead.
So 3 weeks out from the 60K, that's when I hurt my leg, and it more than anything, it just mentally destroyed me, because I was like, man, I'm about to do my first ultra. I've been dreaming about this since 2019. I've been training, working my ass off, and then 3 weeks out, I hurt my leg like shit. Like in those 3 weeks, like I think I ran like 3 or 4 times. Like I don't remember even going past 3 miles. I think that's the most I did was like 3 miles, and that was about it, because I was genuinely like I was hurt. Like I could not run past 3 miles, and more than the injury, just mentally destroyed me, to where like you had to bring me back to life, because I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this. Like I can't even run 3 miles. Now I got to go do 36 in the mountains. Like I don't know how to figure this out. So
I'm gonna frame that real fast. Like to put it, we kept trying for about a week. We took a full like week and a half off, and then you and I had like a pre-race chat. And yeah, dude, it sucks. Like I've been injured, and I knew exactly where your head was, and it just sucks so bad. Like, damn,
it was bad.
Yeah, I'm glad we tried.
I definitely didn't know if I wanted to run. I definitely didn't know if I wanted to just not even show up. Like I really didn't know what to do. But again, it just comes down to that mental toughness that I've just kind of build up in the boxing gym, where it's just like, you gotta just figure it out, figure a way, or at least try. So then we ended up going for it.
For sure, man. And I mean, when we chatted, we did the math in the course, right? And like that's what I think it was helpful, because like at that point you'd tried a couple, and it was pretty much whenever you went over 12-minute miles, it was brutal, and anything less than that was fine. And we did the numbers, and like 12-minute miles was still well short of cutoff times. So you were going to finish. it just might have sucked, right? But like we knew you had the finish in you. Like even if you walked it, you'd finish it from your pacing. So it wasn't like we were being reckless. It was just not the race. You just weren't quite sure how it was going to go.
Yeah, I definitely was able to run. I just couldn't get down to anything faster below 12.
Yeah.
But we did break it down to where like, okay, you can run at a 12-minute pace, like you've been able to. You can definitely finish this, and then you kind of just instilled it that it was possible. But again, it comes back to me thinking that everything needs to be done fast and quickly, and like, just like fast, 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 fast. And I mean, even to begin with, when we started, the whole goal was to just, sit around 11, 12-minute pace.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of just brought me back to the beginning. It was like, well, nothing's really changed. You can still hit the 12-minute pace how we kind of intended to from the beginning. But again, I was getting so fast at the time, and I was like, I can do 10, 7, 8-minute miles. Like I can run uphill 10-minute, 9-minute mile. Like, holy shit, like I'm fast. That takes over. And then, and that's why I hired a coach, because then he brings me back to earth and is like, no, you can't run 10-minute miles for 36 miles. Like it just kind of like brought me back to earth and made me realize that it is still possible.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's kind of at least half my job is to frame you on it's like bring your brain a little bit back to earth sometimes. That's what it is. So as far as the 60K, like you went into it kind of blind, like didn't even get to do a like pre-race shakeout like we'd usually do. Your nutrition and hydration looked really good. The weather was solid for a change for the past like 2 weeks. That was nice. So how was the race, man? Like how was the Whiskey Basin? How was it? You have a good time? Like all that?
The race was amazing. I mean, I overall at the end of the day, I had a blast. I came in there with a little bit of fear just because my leg was hurt, but I did give myself the time to heal, and I did take care of myself. Like I wasn't kind of just sitting around. I was doing things that make it better, and you and me talked about some things that I could do to make it better, which helped a ton, because when it came to the day of race day, my leg was feeling way much better. But it's just, I kind of, at first I started with that mental thought of like, oh, my leg, I should go slow, and, just kind of fearful of what was going to happen. But as the race kind of evolved and I kind of started getting into it, kind of just zoned in and realized that the leg wasn't going to be an issue. And from there on, it went really well. I mean, I was pretty, I always imagined that they would be really, really difficult. And I'm not saying that they're not difficult, because they are difficult, and it was hard as shit, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. And now I think that's why I'm looking for like longer distances. Awesome. Cause I'm just like, man, 60K was tough. Fuck yeah, it was super hard. But mentally, like, I think there's more out there that's harder. So yeah, but yeah, it was a blast. Man, that run was amazing. And for my first ultra, it was just like, the experience was unbelievable. It was the greatest high ever.
All right, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, we went every that was the God, I just remembering more and more about this. Everybody knows that Cocodona had to be rerouted 250 for that fire. This also got caught up in that, right? So like you had to reroute your course. How was the course with the restructuring and everything that they had to do?
I can't compare it to the original course. Sure. I never ran that course, but I mean, it was that course is amazing. I mean, I love that area. I live an hour and a half away from there, and I really, really enjoy going out there to those mountains. And I mean, the Prescott Circle Trail, man, it's a great trail. It's really well maintained. And yeah, I mean, you get to see a lot of it. You get to see a lot of good landscape, a lot of good mountains out there, and kind of just run around the town, and just get a good view of the town, the Granite Dell Mountain. So yeah, it was. Whether if they made this like the course, I mean, people would still run it, because it's an amazing course.
Good. I mean, the Prescott area is just gorgeous. Like if you're into that kind of desert, which I am, it's amazing.
Yeah, I love that area. That is like that's my goal is to go. My goal is to get out of Phoenix and go live up there one day, but
Oh yeah,
who knows?
that'd be awesome, dude. I'd love
Yeah.
that for you. So 60K, nailed it. I think your time was somewhere in the how fast did that go?
I think it was
Somewhere.
8:47 or somewhere around there, 8:53.
So I
Just
thought so. I
like
was
a
gonna say
couple
something like,
couple minutes before 9
yeah, I was gonna
hours.
say you got sub 9, which I was pretty sure of. And
Yeah, I
not
think it was 8:47, I think. 8 hours and 47 minutes.
oh yeah, dude. That's awesome.
Um,
Well, good deal. What's next? What's in the future? What are you doing? What do you have on your radar? Like I know you and I are like just getting going again, setting for something up. So I'd love to hear about your brain on that front, but like talk about future as well. Like what do you want to run? What's on your target list? What do you got?
uh for goals, I mean I definitely want to keep running. I definitely want to stay into ultras. I definitely don't want to run anything under 30 miles anymore. I want to stay up there because I fell in love with the long distance. Like 8 hours, 9 hours to just be out there by myself, like not worry about anything. Like sign me up. If it's half
That's
a
awesome.
day, like I'll do it. But right now, I want to stay in like the 50-mile range. Like I really want to go for a 50 miler. You like you had like I said, I wanted to do the man against horse race back in Prescott. That's one that's on my radar. Um,
Please explain that to everybody who doesn't know what that is.
so man against horse is a race up in Prescott. I just learned about it not that long ago, actually. So it's basically just a race where you're racing horses, and then you're running. I think they have a 50 miler and a 25 miler and a half a marathon distance. But yeah, the 50 miler, you pretty much running to the top of Mingus Mountain and then running back down. But I guess the cool thing about this one is you get to race horses. I'm terrified of horses, dude. Like I don't like being around horses at all.
Oh god.
So this is the race that intrigues me because it's like 50 miles. Okay, that's gonna be tougher than 37, obviously, because it's farther. Now you're gonna put horses into the scenario. I fucking can't stand horses. Like
Oh
they
god, dude.
terrify me. And now I have to climb to the top of Mingus Mountain. It's just like that's the one that I have to figure it out and see if I can make it happen. But if I can't make that one happen, then it would be the night run, the Javelina. I don't know, something for
I think I think it's
Aravaipa
the
Running.
hangover. The
Yeah, the
hangover.
Hangover 75K night run.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would either be that one or the 50K. Um, I mean the 50 miler, the horse one. I think I really want to do that one,
Oh
man.
god, dude.
I'm gonna figure it
I
out,
just
but
love that. It's
just
insane to
the
me.
yeah, just the thought to like I don't know, like I'm gonna race a horse. Race, I gotta beat at least one, man. I don't know.
Oh, Oscar, I
It's
would love
a
that.
it's an interesting race. It's
Yeah.
definitely interesting. It's
Again, super cool area, pretty like you can't really go wrong. I love the gimmick too. Like you can't it's hilarious to me.
yeah,
But the
yeah,
race itself actually looks fantastic too.
it looks challenging, and I think that's why I'm really really pushing for that one. It's just it looks like it's a really tough challenge, and I really like testing myself, and I think that's going to be the one. But I have to figure some stuff out.
Sure.
But if not, I mean, I will be running something in the 50-mile range before the year ends, and then
Awesome.
next year, man, I'm hoping to get a 100 miler in next year, get a taste of that.
It'd be sick. Do you have any that you're like looking for?
Next year, honestly, my main goal has always been to run the Javelina 100 for the first one, just because it's like a
Oh
party
yeah.
scene race, and just like every video that I've watched and people that I've talked to about it, it's just like, man, that's an amazing race. So I think it would be great for it to be the first one, in
Home
my
turf
ultra
too.
running career,
Yeah, 100%.
and it gives me enough time to kind of get back. It gives me enough time to train for it and stuff. But yeah, Javelina 100 is the one that I'm kind of really, really wanting to do next year.
Be
But
awesome.
yeah,
Well,
we'll see how it goes.
I mean, if you can make it work, I think you can get there. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I mean, it's 100 miler. It's brutal. It's going to be tough. I told you that it's going to be suffering, but I think you'll be able to get it done for sure. So it'd be fun to like watch that happen. Anybody who's at Javelina, like, let me
Yeah,
tell you, it's
that's
just an incredible race.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on it, and kind of like analyzed the whole race, and I'm just like, man, that has to be the first one. Like, I really want to do that one, but
For sure.
we'll see how things go and stuff. And then later on down the years, I really want to do Cocodona 250. I really want to get that in my books and
It's so far.
just get it. That's what I'm saying, man. Like,
Oh,
I'm
God.
getting really hooked on running far, and it's just like after I did the 60K, I was just like, this is far and it hurt and it sucked, but like there's more out there that might hurt and suck. So as you can tell, I'm just going up higher in
Yeah, dude.
distance. But that's what I mean. That's if my body allows me to do things like this, and I will do them. But I mean, like I've always like ever since I started working with you, like I've always said, I like doing things the right way. And if there's things that my body can't take, like I'm done getting punished and beat up, and like I want to be able to, as I get older, still run and not have a limp in my leg. And I learned that through all my other sports that I've played, that it's just like sometimes just pushing it and getting hurt is not worth it. So if my body allows me to do 100 milers, 200 milers, like multi-day, like I'm down, I'll do them, but it all depends on what my body can take. And I think that's what it really comes down to. It's just like doing things the right way and not killing myself over something that I may only enjoy once or twice and then get hurt and never do it again, because that's already happened to me once. And I'm okay. I would rather run 20 milers for the rest of my life than 100 miler and then never run again.
I appreciate
So for me,
that.
it's like a long run.
Yeah, man, I feel you. You gotta have the long game in mind, and
Yeah,
that means different things to different people, but it's definitely key because it sucks to be out of the game when you're like 40. So good deal.
Yep.
Well, good, dude. Anything else you want to say on here? I think that's it. I'm really glad everything went so well, and I'm stoked you're like finding joy in here and everything. So, but yeah, anything else you want to say before we sign off?
Shit, I just want to say Will is a great coach. He saved my
Thanks.
running career, even my running career that I don't have, because I was at the point where I was like never gonna run again because I was just fed up with bonking all the time. But Will basically came in and just kind of reinvented what I've always wanted to create for a long time, and that's why I'm like really grateful to him and the things that he's helped me with. And now we're gonna get back to training again and keep working. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like half of what I've done is because of Will. And to everybody that's listening, like Will's the man, dude. So if you ever need a coach, yeah, hit him up, because I vouch for him. He definitely got me to where I needed, and it was a really good, smooth process. So yeah, that's all I gotta say, man. You're the shit, dude.
Thanks,
You're out here saving runners.
Shit, dude. I really appreciate that. I am not great with taking praise, so thank you. Did not expect that at all. But yeah, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. You're a pleasure to work with. Been super fun. I'm stoked we're getting you ready for another one here soon. So thanks, man. I really, again, did not. If I didn't have a light on my face, you'd see me blushing. So thanks, I appreciate it.
No, dude, I genuinely mean it, bro. Like for real, like you basically got me to where I needed to get, and now you've helped me more and more and more. It's just like I can kind of see my potential come out, and that's one of the best things about all of this is like you taught me that I have things in me that I just have to figure out, and potential. Like it's really great. This man's great. This is a great coach right here. I'll tell you. And I've been through a lot of coaches in my lifetime, man. You're definitely on my top list, dude, for real. But
I really do appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Yep.
Well, all
right.
Great. That's awesome, dude. Well, I'm going to stop our recording now, hang up for a minute. And everybody listen, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I'll be back later with another one of these podcast episodes. Thanks so much. Thank you for listening to the show. To be clear, I'm not a doctor nor a registered dietitian, and nothing you heard was medical advice. You should always speak with a qualified medical professional before making any changes to your training regimen. If you enjoy the podcast or found it useful, please take a couple seconds to give it a rating or share it with a friend. Every little bit helps. And if you want more of this information, please head to the Trail and Ultra Running Nutrition group on Facebook. You'll be in good company with other like-minded people who like to do hard stuff outside.